And then the government says that over 100,000 more new homes are needed to meet demand.
Yeah, but the question is, where do you put them? Many aren't happy with the answer, including residents of a village 20 miles up the road from Morley, and Tony Livesey has been to meet them.
If, like me, you've chosen to live in the countryside, you probably think your stunning views and rural way of life are protected. Well, you and I could be in for a rude awakening, because the government is determined to push ahead with plans to declassify our green belts and allow the building of thousands of much-needed new homes in their place, right across the country. Here in the picture postcard village of Menston in West Yorkshire, life in a real-life picture postcard could soon prove to be as much a curse as a blessing. And the curse is this. Smack bang between Bradford and Leeds, these fields could soon become home to hundreds of new houses. Because developers have already submitted plans to build 900 new homes around the village after Bradford Council began declassifying parts of the Greenbelt several years ago. And 900 homes means nearly 3,000 extra people, a 40% increase in the population, which locals claim they just can't cope with.
There is one secondary school in Menston, but it's a Roman Catholic school, so that restricts its intake and it takes kids from all over the district. We've got 15 shops, a couple of corner shops, the chemist's, the post office. We can't create any new shops because we've only one street and there's no shop facilities.
What would you say, it's going to be swamped?
Absolutely,
or can you actually cope?
No, we can't cope with that number, it's not possible.
The government has pledged to take into consideration the public's view before granting planning permission. But growing numbers of demonstrators against rural development say this isn't happening. This protest was in West Yorkshire. In Menston, they even commissioned their own referendum. And of those who voted, 98% were against the development.
I will not stop until the last house has been said it's not going to be built.
We'll keep going fighting the development as long as it takes.
I will never give up, nor will the community.
Alan and his neighbours have spent tens of thousands of pounds of their own savings, commissioning reports on the potential risk of flooding to local sewage mains.
The runoff from the moor comes from dozens of different streams, it's culverted and sometimes it's not, and it runs down to the north of the village. Everything channels through the village. What it means is, build here, it'll flood.
What did the council say?
They're looking at the expert report done by the developers. It's a bit galling, isn't it?
Now, we've asked Bradford City Council for an interview about the development, but they tell us here at City Hall that no one is available to give us one. The council did eventually send us a statement saying their priority is to build on brownfield sites and protect greenbelt and quality landscape, if possible. The government is determined to create up to 70,000 new homes by 2020 and believes communities like Menston will benefit from these plans.
There are many, many improvements that this will bring, as well as the investment into the village, existing businesses supported, further support for public transport. The fields beyond that tree belt will become a new village public open space, which will link with other open spaces in the middle of the site.
You're going to build new countryside?
Effectively, we are enhancing parts of the countryside.
Right, Alan, let's have a look at this magnificent view. Like many other countrysiders, Alan wants to preserve the pastoral view from his garden for as long as he can. And, if as expected, the developers get the go-ahead to start building in early summer, Alan and his neighbours will have little choice but to bow to progress.
Nowhere is ever sacrosanct and forever. But the question is it necessary, is it proportionate and is it sustainable? As far as Menston is concerned, it's not.
The minister would say, he'd use that famous phrase, wouldn't he, NIMBY, not in my backyard.
He would
say, this is NIMBYism, you're saying I don't want it here, and everyone else who's protesting, they don't want to have their view spoilt.
This is not just about me, this is about future generations, so we'll carry on.
Thanks, Tony. The council have also told us that the developers would have to provide affordable housing and improvements to local schools, highways, public transport and sports facilities.
Under government regulations, it wasn't allowed to take the referendum